Welcome back, pop stars. I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
And this is the Pink Popcast
Podcast,
where we talk about film, media,
and everything else.
And today, Benji, what are we talking about?
We are going to review Wicked for Good. That is part 2.
That's right. Wicked for Good, which is out in theaters now. And if you're not new to this channel, then you've already seen our Wicked reaction. Holy cow, that was a lot of fun. And we have just come out of the theater for the second time. You know, I'm going to take these off, by the way.
That's fair.
We just came out of the theater for the second time. We've seen it twice. Okay, Benji's looking sexy. He's getting all lustiferous. We've seen it twice now. We have not talked about it yet, though. Together.
No, and together we're limited before we come together to talk to you guys.
Together we have limited our speech so we can save our feelings for the channel.
Yes, we saw this quickly. We saw this twice. The first time was with my family while they were still in town for the live show, and I wanted to see it with them really quickly before they left.
Thank you to all who came to our live show.
It was amazing. We had a fantastic time, and we will do another one. We heard you. Another one will be on the way at some point. And so we were in the car. I was talking with my family, and Josiah kept quiet.
I did.
To his, what is it?
Credit?
To your credit. You stayed very quiet. And I was just kind of like, I was trying to suss out how you felt. But he stayed quiet. And then now when we just saw it with our big group of friends, he kept being across the friend group from me. Every time I would move to talk to somebody, he would move to the other side.
I was avoiding you.
Else, and I was like, damn, he's serious.
Well, because here's the thing. I'm gonna move you over closer. Here's the thing. We watched the first movie last year, and by the time we eventually got to our review, which I do love our review episode, both the edited one we did for YouTube and the longer podcast that we released. This is gonna be a podcast on our YouTube because I don't want to edit, and I think people have actually been enjoying our long-winded talks.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to that one in like January, I feel like we had said all that we could say, and I kind of wanted to. There were so many things we discovered just in that first night of having watched Wicked Part 1. There's so many things we discovered. We don't normally do this, but I wanted to save it for the pop stars.
You wanted to have this a fresh conversation.
I also wanted it to come fresh out of my own mouth. I wasn't even. I didn't say a lot to our friends around us because I was kind of formulating, and I even wanted to see it a second time to know how I officially felt, because we did see it in 3D, which I'm sorry. I am not a fan of 3D.
I did not see 3D on there.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's why the theater was open, because I got it like a little bit after I got the original tickets, and theaters were selling out, so we had to get one that was really far out. And I was like, wow, this theater is basically open. Probably because it was 3D. I don't know where it said that, because I didn't fucking see it, but it's fine. It gives me a headache, which is why I usually don't do it. It looked great, though. It was a good-looking 3D. The 3D looked good, I'm saying.
I would disagree. I've seen 3D now, and at this point, I liked 3D. I like 3D for animated films. We'll get to that point. For me personally, I was over the 3D.
Look, we're not here to review the 3D of Wicked.
We are here to review Wicked for Good, so I will review every aspect.
Fine. The 3D looked cool. It looked 3D. Looked better than the stupid red and blue glasses that we used to have growing up.
Yeah, but everything looks better than that. Trash looks better than Spy Kids 3D.
Whatever. I'm not here to talk about 3D. I didn't care. I didn't want to see it in 3D.
Oh my God.
That was not the point. What did you think about the movie?
Well, for those of you who are watching us, we're going to do a spoiler-free review first and foremost. We'll give you a chance to get your thoughts or hear our thoughts and kind of formulate your own opinion on whether or not you should see it. And then we will let you know when we're going to go into spoiler territory. So with that said, I will start it off because I know you've got a lot more to say. I think Wicked for Good was good. And I have a lot of thoughts about it that I really don't feel like getting into until we get into spoiler territory. And we're going to do this we're going to be two very distinct people. For those of you who know us, you know what you're in for when it comes to the way we review things. For those of you who might be watching this for the first time, I am straight and I am not a theater nerd. Benji
is gay and a bit of a theater nerd. Didn't do theater, but I love it.
And that is not to credit or discredit either of us. That means that, especially if you have seen our Wicked reaction, you know that eventually I end up liking movies. I'm not here to hate on films, but for this review, for this podcast, I will be reviewing it as such, as someone who did not grow up with the Wicked musical, someone who knows a thing or two, by osmosis, but not necessarily going into it with the knowledge that you have. So, and that's how we'll tackle it. Okay. I'm not going to be harsh or cruel for no reason. I'm going to tackle it as a person watching it as if this is the first time he's ever encountered this. And Benji, how will you be reviewing it?
As a fan alone.
As a fan. And as a fan, I would say, and I think it's safe to say this, and I'll let you elaborate on it. If you are a fan of Wicked Part 1, if you're a fan of Wicked the musical, if you're a fan of The Wizard of Oz in general, I think you're going to have a great time with this movie. There is nothing about this film, in my opinion. I saw a lot of interesting reviews. I would not say there was anything about this that was like worse. Like, honestly, I have some critiques about it, but it's not a lot of the ones I was seeing. Yes, the songs might not be as memorable if you're only going off the songs that have been projected at you for the last 22 years.
And I will say, as somebody who's a fan of the original, for anybody who was a fan and for anybody who doesn't know it, we all knew that the second part didn't have the memorable songs in it.
But I didn't hate that.
We were here to watch the end of the story.
Yes.
We knew that all the bangers were up front, outside of, obviously, No Good Deed, for some people, As Long As Your Mind, and did I say mind? As Long As Your Mind and For Good. Yeah. But like outside of that, it's filler songs. Like it's, and if you like any of the other ones, or if they're your favorite, I apologize. But for the most part, even when they split it in half the first time, we were like, what's even gonna be in the second half?
I had no clue. Yeah. You had a clue. I didn't, and I will say I did not find myself again. There are some criticisms we'll get into and I'll elaborate on in the spoiler section, but I didn't find myself really hating the songs. Yeah, not all of them hit for me, but I really wouldn't put that as a damning note on this film. I understand the practicality of what they did. And I think for what they had and what they were working with, it still worked for me. I know Popular, because Popular has been popular for goddamn 22 years.
It sure fucking has.
But beyond that, everything...
Defying Gravity.
Well, even Defying Gravity was new for me, essentially, by the time...
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know Popular was more popular.
No, I've been hearing Popular for a very long time. Oh. I mean, I've known who Kristen Chenoweth was for a very long time. Yeah. I didn't know who Idina Menzel was until she showed up in...
What, Frozen?
Maybe.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's so weird being straight.
It is, but Kristen Chenoweth broke through that barrier, She broke through the straight barrier, not the sound barrier, the straight barrier.
Right, exactly.
But I will say, and even for the people who are criticizing this film in terms of pacing, I really didn't see that as an issue. I think, I am a darker person, so I tend to kind of like when stories go to a more in-depth and kind of like somber place. So I found the pacing of this second part to be enjoyable. I will say, though, it is not just a second part. It is a sequel. I don't care. Don't come at me. I don't care what you say and your semantics. You're all theater people. We get it. You've seen this as one story and you want to argue over the fact that this is a part 2. As long as Universal split it up and I had to pay for 2 goddamn tickets, that is a fucking sequel. It's the same way I feel about Dune, so I'm not just being angry on something that's queer adjacent. I hate.
But even Dune was 2 parts.
But it's still a sequel, and it pisses me off when people try to say it's one story.
When you have one half of the story and then the other half of the story, it's 2 parts.
Well, a lot of what I will argue in the spoiler section, my issues when it comes to any of these types of film that want to split things up. I'm looking at you, Harry Potter. I'm looking at you, Twilight. I'm looking at you, anything that says and Mockingjay, the last
Hunger Games,
Hunger Games.
Divergent, who didn't even get to split their last one because everybody's like, I'm really kind of over this whole book thing.
Yeah. So for any of these things that take a story that's set in stone and split it in half, I don't give a shit what all fans want to say. If I have to pay for a second ticket, that is a goddamn sequel, and you need to write that script as if it's a sequel, because I am watching it at a separate time a year later, and I need that story to have its own beginning, middle, and end. Okay.
Did it?
I think there were aspects of this movie I really liked. Again, the pacing was an issue for me, and most of my complaints are going to be in the spoiler section in how they kind of filled in the world that they stretched out for 2 parts. But ultimately, if you were a fan, if you were a Benji, and you're wondering if Wicked Part 2 is going to be as fun as Wicked Part 1.
If you're me and you're a fan, you know it's going to be good. Just
go. Some of our friends did say it was boring. I don't really agree. I didn't think it was boring.
I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought that obviously it wasn't, like I said, the songs aren't the same level of iconic as the first half. There's technically less music. I'd be interested to add up the the amount of music in the movie versions, but I did, as we were starting this, add up the amount of songs there are.
I would say it's hard to say, and this is something I did like about the second sequel, is that I love reprises. I do like reprises in musicals. I like paying something off that was set up earlier. And this film, I think the first part had more kind of like scene, song, scene, song, scene, song. Whereas this one was kind of like
scene, callback, scene, reprise.
Song, reprise. We're kind of like a lot of scenes flowed in and out.
Absolutely.
And there's one stretch that we'll talk about in spoiler that I did really like. But yeah, you'd be hard pressed. Like, it was very clear, like, that's a song. But there were still segments after it where it's like, but that's also kind of a reprise and a callback to the song we just went through.
I love a good callback, and I think something that I like specifically about this half is the fact of, I like being dropped in the middle of a story. I like having a story that just starts off rather than has to build itself up for a while.
Yeah,
so
fair.
I do like the fact, I mean, the first one is just iconic. The first one is wicked. The second part is very much wicked because you're dropped in the middle of it and you're like, okay, all this is going on. You're getting dropped in the middle of a lot of things that were set up in the first part.
Yeah.
And then you get to watch, like you said, all of the payoffs, the reprises, this is where this went. This is where this comes from, like that kind of stuff. And for that, I really loved this half specifically.
Yeah.
Just to see how everything kind of comes back around, comes together, and gets called back to.
Okay.
And saying there is technically less music in this half.
Really?
At least on the stage musical. I haven't added up the movie musical, but for the stage, there's about roughly 41 minutes of music in part 1, and in part 2 there's 28 minutes.
Whoa.
So there is a 10-minute difference. The songs are shorter. There's 20 songs altogether. The first 12 are in part 1, and the last 8 are in part 2.
Well, let's see. What did you think of this movie? I mean,
I really loved it. I bawled through the first viewing, and I think I was kind of like, "Did you see me?"
Oh, I could feel you. I could feel you bawling.
I was struggling. It was mainly because watching it this time, I just sat and watched it and enjoyed it. The first time, I think it was just so much emotion of, like, this is happening. I'm here. I'm watching this. They landed the plane. It's all going so well. Like, it's beautiful. Like, it's visually amazing. They sound amazing. Like, I'm here, like, with my family, and this is all this culmination, and it's over. There's no more after this. And I was just crying through this movie. And, like, I was fighting back tears, and then finally in, like, the last part of it, I just kind of let myself cry. But yes, it is a...
Did you bottle those tears up for the patrons?
Yeah, I should have, because like we've got so many of Rizzo's tears. But yeah, I loved it.
And I would say, again, before we get into the spoiler section, takeaway and ultimate spoiler-free review is that I think it holds up for someone who's a fan, who knows the play, musical. Sorry, I tend to interchange those. Fine. But for those who are fans of the musical, who are fans of the part 1, you're going to feel rewarded. You're going to enjoy the payoff to the story. For those who are uncertain and are wondering whether or not this film will make them will kind of help determine how they felt about the first movie, you might be a little bit rockier waters. I don't think this movie does anything new to assuage doubts if you had them in the first half.
Well, it depends on what your doubts were, because I think if your doubt was what their friendship, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, Glinda was never really a real friend. I think in this point, in this half, you really get to see her come back around.
Doubt. We'll talk about that in the spoiler
you don't think
section.
So?
I would say my biggest issues with this are the same ones I had with the first part. And I won't harp on it too much, unlike in our reaction to part 1. I still think it visually could look a lot better. I do not think that the film does the best job at filling stuff in for those of us like myself. Again, this is how I'm reviewing it. You can like it or hate it, but you're going to get two halves of a review here. You're going to get one person who is for you, who is in your camp if you're a Wicked fan, who knows the musical and who knows the lore and who's excited about it. And then you're going to get a person here. I'm doing my best to be a reviewer. I am telling you, I came at it as someone who does not know a shit about the musical, and I don't need to hear people barking at me. Well, if you knew that, that's not how I go into movies. I'm watching it as someone who has been invited by Universal to see this movie for the first time as this. And I will complain about it and discuss my issues with it as such. If you don't like that, fair, tune me out and listen to Benji when he talks. But I do have some issues with the story and how it fills out its world that kind of, I feel like, got magnified by this one, my issues in the first part. But ultimately, I think you're going to like it if you wanted to like it. And if you're on the fence, depends on who you see it with. You know, that's my official spoiler-free review.
And I think it's good. I think you're going to like it either way. I think if you...
You're saying you're going to like it no matter what, I guarantee it.
And if you don't, I'm going to come get you. But I think...
You heard it here first. Benji's coming for you.
I'm going to get you.
You heard of Krampus?
That's a threat.
Watch out for Benji.
I think... I do think that this is like... I think... If you had reservations about the first part, watching it all come together and just watching it as like... It's not like a deep lore, like kind of like, oh yeah, the book is like, oh, there's so much stuff that like, it's not like watching a Harry Potter or something or like a Lord of the Rings.
No.
Where it's like, if you have a question, read the book and there's going to be paragraphs of lore that are going to fix it. This is a fun story that is kind of playing on an original work that is on an original work that's on an original work. Like this is a fun thought project that came to life beautifully, and there are going to be things that are kind of like, okay, like this maybe canonically happened, this probably didn't happen, but I think they did a great job of bringing it to the silver screen and making it happen. And while I do understand that probably not knowing necessarily the lore, there are gonna and I don't things that feel a little bit rocky or feel a little bit like kind of gaps of like, okay, but what about this? What about that? It's kind of like, I think, and being someone who's familiar with it, you kind of watching the musical, I don't think about those gaps at all. Watching it as a movie in a new medium, there are those kind of things where I go, oh, I guess so. But then when you watch it the second time, for me, watching it the second time, I was like, I see where that connects.
Yeah, but that's also because you're willing to give it a second time. That's what a lot of times when people come on YouTube to actually see a review, they're determining whether or not a film is kind of fit for their sensibilities and whether or not they're going to give it a second time. You're asking certain people to give a 4-hour thought experiment, and some people might not want to if they didn't find the first 2 hours worthwhile.
But I'm like,
I'm telling them.
But I think if you watch the first 2 hours and were like, that was fucking atrocious trash, then yeah, I don't know why you went to see the movie anyways. Like, it was exactly what it branded itself to be. But if you come in and you watch it and you're like, this looked fun, and you watch it and you were like, that was kind of fun, I had a few questions, go watch the second half. You'll have a few less questions. You might still have a few more, but you'll have less overall because a lot of things will be answered, I think.
I would say there's still some things that you're going to fill in because you love this story, and I'm going to do my best to expand on the things I feel like don't make not any goddamn sense, but some of the things that I feel are very shallowly dealt with as a film. And so if you're asking a real critique, because again, this ain't just a podcast where we talk and ramble. We do try to do our best to actually discuss what we do and don't love about certain things. So that'll be the last I say for spoiler free.
And I will just say really quickly too, I do see there was one part that I was like, technically this would be a lot deeper of a moment, but I understand this is coming from stage where we probably don't have time to deal with that.
Yeah.
And even this is in part 2, we got a lot of loose ends to tie up. We don't have time for this probably. So
we'll see what those are.
Yeah.
But yeah, go see it if you want to see it. Like, definitely
go see it if you don't want to see it.
Okay, well, first off, what did we just say?
Guess what? When you go see that, you support bringing new theatrical musicals to the theatricals.
Yeah.
And then more things get made. And then guess what? Something that you like will get made.
Sure.
You support us, we support you.
Okay. All right, we ready for spoiler section, Benji?
Yeah.
Okay, spoiler section. What I mean, is there anything off the top of your head you want to say now that the reins are off and
now that
people
well, no, but I absolutely I think I just gave the general, like, I
So
did really enjoy it.
So it's gonna come down to me
I
taking
think-
this apart
I
and you
think you
putting
pick it
the
apart, and then
pieces.
I'm gonna have to
You're
put it
gonna
back
put the pieces back.
together.
So I'm gonna destroy the yellow brick road, and you'll be like, "Wait a minute,
Yeah,
now, let's."
wait. I'm thinking if there's anything specifically.
Well, I will. So because okay. First off, use your words, Rizzo. I was trying to figure out the best way to kind of encapsulate my thought process, and I do want to present this thought experiment not as a I would have done it another way, but more as a if I kind of make this if I can make you understand kind of how I'm viewing it, then maybe it'll make my criticisms and why those criticisms are even a criticism in the first place, in my mind, make sense. You've not seen like Edward Scissorhands, have you?
I've seen it. I've just only seen it like once.
Okay,
or twice.
I'm trying to think of movies that are kind of like surreal and they're not fantasy. It's not like,
But they're kind of
they make sense. Like they follow an A, B, C, D storyline. It's not like, it's not avant-garde. We're not talking about like say Skinamarink, where that's very kind of storytelling is not traditional. I mean, I'm talking about like traditional movies that are traditional, but they kind of still lean more into absurdism or they're surreal and they're like fairy tales and they kind of, things can be representative. They don't
they're more
necessarily
symbolic and
Yes. It's symbolic is the word.
metaphorical. That's
yeah,
the word I
like
wanted.
they don't have to be explicitly metaphorical. Like what you're watching is taking place. It's not a dream.
Yeah.
But
it can still be metaphorical for the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah,
even
and you
if
don't
it's real.
necessarily have to fill in the gaps. I think a lot of the criticisms I'm going to bring up in terms of my issues with the story would not have been criticisms if I felt this film leaned more into kind of what stage and theater does so well, which is it allows you to fill in the gaps. You're sitting down. It is a long play. Like, how long is the play? Like
2.5, yeah.
2 hours is...
2.5. Yeah.
2 hours is a long time, and that is a lot of story to cover in 2.5 hours. But it also, the thing that's so amazing about live theater is that it uses you. It uses you, the audience.
Me?
It's
Yes.
like a book where it allows you to kind of be the connective glue for a lot of things. You have these big, broad performances, and if they're doing it right, they are tapping into emotions. They are explaining plot. But a lot of times it's like if someone brings up, half of the wizard's head on screen, you'll fill in the rest of it. You'll fill in the entire room. And that's the beauty of theater is like you are a part of the performance. And a lot of times you're part of the story. So I don't have to see all the minutia. If they say 10 years has passed and it's just a guy with a poorly put on beard, I'm not necessarily judging it. I'm just like, great, got it. 10 years has passed. Like, if they're saying like, oh, the animals are being tortured off screen, I'm not going to nitpick that while I'm watching it on stage the same way I nitpicked it in part 1, where I'm like, hey, this is a visual medium now and I need to see something that's going to be very important later on. Like you're establishing Elphaba to be, someone who's not selfish, but she like flies off the handle. She cares about herself in the sense of like she's been ostracized and she wants to be fitting in, and she puts on this prickliness. She puts on this intensity of like, don't fuck with me. I'll push you away first so you don't do it. And then to watch her over time go from, but the wizard will change all that, to the wizard sucks and I'm watching everyone around me, the animals, get tortured and hurt. I'm sure that works well on the stage if you have Dilliman show up in 1 or 2 scenes and people are saying, oh yeah, we hate animals. It's like, cool, great. I don't need you to cut away to a large establishing shot. This is this is theater. Very different medium. I will fill that in as long as you do what's on stage the right way. And then you have a criticism in part 1, that my criticism, which was like, okay, but now it's a film, and I'll finish it here so you have time to talk as well. I feel like if the movie kind of it did 2 things for me. It was like trying to play both things. It was kind of surreal in the sense of the way it would tell its story. Like they would tell you a lot of things, but they wouldn't show you. But at the same time, the movie was kind of taking itself a lot more seriously than, say, like an Edward Scissorhands or like any of those modern day fables where you can kind of, I don't need to see everything spilled out. This is more metaphorical. But this movie was almost shot and filmed and kind of presented like a Star Wars almost, like a very grand, epic film. And everything we're seeing is kind of like it's taken very seriously. And as such, I'm going to have issues with some of the things where I'm like, no, I need you to fill that in more. And I need to see more of their inner world. If you're going to play this as a serious type of universe in which it's not like it exists to them and these are real emotions and things are actually happening and it's not a stage play where I fill in the details, I need you to fill it in then. You can't just sing at me some things.
You see everything in Star Wars. You don't.
Yeah, you see when people are being tortured or when like cities are being burnt down.
I mean, didn't Leia's home planet get blown up? We didn't. She just kind of was like, "Oh my god," and then she moves on. With
I meant modern day Star Wars, but yeah, I did. I mean, hey, that's a thing I hate.
I feel like he blew up 12 planets, and we were just like, "Oh my god!" And
I didn't say I like Star Wars.
But you said Star Wars is the one that is the touchstone of they show everything.
Well, we'll get into it when we get it.
I think you like them enough that you fill in the
blanks.
He's a hypocrite.
I hate Star Wars too.
Which?
Oh my god. Okay, here you want an example?
Go ahead, yeah.
Here's my first biggest issue. This is the first time. First off, I love the fact that Nessa and Elphaba's dad died of shame. What a dumbass.
I mean,
he died of shame.
He actually died of shame. He probably had.
I don't know.
He probably had a heart attack.
That would be less funny than saying our dad died of shame.
He had
and
a
then
heart
moves
attack
on.
because of the stress that she was causing him.
She said shame,
but she, to close it up, said yes, he died of shame.
No, she said not to close it up, to start it off and close it up.
When you say somebody died of a broken heart, it's like obviously they didn't technically die of a broken heart, but yes, the emotional stress of them having a broken heart led to a physical issue.
What an idiot. No, but my biggest issue, and this is kind of where I was starting to realize, like, I see where you can get away with this in theater, but it to me, it looks so stupid on screen. One of the biggest moments is both of the transformations, I was like, of our characters when, they get transformed by the Necronomicon or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Both of those moments, I was like...
the Grimmery.
Sure. I was like, both of those moments easily could have been avoided. And as such, the scene where Elphaba shows up to Nessa and is like, hey, Nessa. And Nessa's like, yeah, you suck. I need you to take care of me and shit. And she's like, okay.
I do have a note on that.
She's like,
it's just about Nessa's character where I'm like, girl, take some accountability.
Right.
Like,
she never takes. I actually like Nessa's character in the sense of, well, I don't like her. She's awful. But I like that she is awful. Like, she's such an interesting back and forth. Like, you first feel pity for her, but then you're kind of like, oh, you're still kind of shady and kind of underhanded. But all that said, Glinda, God damn it, I keep wanting to call her Glinda. Elphaba, the Wicked Witch. Elphaba shows up. This is long after she's now a fugitive. And Nessa is mad at her for not showing up to their dad's funeral. Nessa is also mad at Elphaba for kind of making her life more difficult. But Nessa's also like, you've been helping out all of these animals and you haven't taken care of me. So Elphaba's like, sure, I will read from this grimoire. I got some issues there too. And, she transforms Nessa's shoes, the shoes that were handed by the mother. And, oh, wow, Nessa can walk. I like the fact that we still were able to cast a person who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that was changed, right?
I assumed it was changed because I think in stage, it's someone who can stand up and walk.
She walks, yeah.
So I like the fact that we were able to cast a person who's disabled.
And change it because that's what, in part one, everybody was like, so what are you going to do there? Because you cast somebody. And also, are we going to try to give a message that people want to be fixed? And they were like, no, we don't want to send that message. And we did cast this person intentionally. And we're going to do something different that we think still gets the point across. And still is true to the story without making somebody who can't walk and saying that's better and that's what they want.
I appreciated that, but then of course then Ethan Slater's Bach shows up. He's like, yo, I'm still pining hard for Ariana. Oh wait, sorry. Bach says, yo, I'm still pining hard for Glinda.
Yeah.
God, I kind of got my Ethan Slaters confused.
Yeah, right.
Which one am I talking about?
You said Ethan Slater, and then you said Ari. So what you mean is Bach came in and
came in, nothing like real life. Bach came in asking,
like,
saying
hey,
he's still pining over.
I know that we kind of have a thing, or we're kind of together. They're not together anymore, but I know me and you were spending a lot of time together, but I think I want her.
But then, so Nessa's like selfish, which I think is interesting. And so she rolls over to the grimoire and is like, yo, I'm going to start reading something for this. And what does Elphaba do? No, please, stop.
No, stop, police.
And I was just like, Elphaba, what the fuck? She's like, no.
What is she supposed to do?
Literally roll your sister away.
Across the room?
Yes.
No.
She's like, you don't know what you're doing.
That's hateful.
Please stop. That was a moment where I was like, you know what she's about to read is probably going to damage. And she's like, what have you done? And then Nessa's like, what have you done? I was like, both of y'all suck right now. Well, don't be reading from that goddamn book and letting your sister read from it. We know full well. Also, that's another thing.
You mustn't read from the book.
So Nessa can read from it?
Okay, so this is kind of the way I'm reading it, is that in the beginning, she says that most people can only read a few words, or that it's hard to read. And she said even she can only read a few words.
And that's why Nessa fucked it up even more by reading even less words.
Because she wasn't reading it correctly, and she wasn't even probably reading the whole thing.
You know what Glinda did? God damn it! Elphaba!
I don't know why you're so
I don't
confused by
know. That name's in my head now.
It's been a year.
You know what Elphaba did about it? Not shit.
But Elphaba was not great at explaining herself
at all,
or like kind of being like a force in that way. Because I know when she came and was singing the "There's No Place Like Home" song, and then they were like, "No."
Was that a new song, by the way?
That was one of the new songs. Yes.
How many were there? Two.
Okay,
I guessed one of them.
The other one probably.
Maybe you might have to give me a clue. So anyway, so she comes in singing.
She came in and they were like, "No, you're a part of this, and you gave the monkeys wings." And she was like, "I did. I'm sorry. That's my bad." And I'm like, "Girl, I need you to
explain better.
I need you to go, I was tricked. I would have never done that. They told me that the monkeys wanted that." And so she didn't really explain very well.
Yeah.
And that happened again. Oh, what was the other one? I had it in my head, but also, yeah, it seems like when Nessa was reading from the book and she was like, no. And I'm like, I need you to actually do a little bit more. Like, I need you. But she did, in that one at least, she kind of more explained, like, no, you don't know what you're reading. You're doing it all wrong.
No, but she didn't explain. She's sitting there like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I was like,
she's not going to put her hands on her sister.
She should. A lot of my
could.
Issue with these movies is that I feel like it's kind of played so serious and I don't want to say this as a criticism, because one of my favorite parts about these movies is their performances. I mean, I buy the hell out of Elphaba and, I buy the hell out of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande's friendship because it's real.
Yeah.
You know, so that's undeniable. But again, I feel like, you know, part one, they have one scene of them actually being friends. That's, I mean, not one scene, but, you know, you spend a whole half of a movie with them arguing in part one. Then they do the dance. Beautiful. I cried. Then they do Popular. And then they're like, we're the bestest friends ever. And I'm like, that's a lot. And that's something you can get away with on stage. But if you're going to base a whole...
I don't know. Have you ever, like, met a girl at the club and been all like,
guess that's
you're
a
gay vibe, and like, you're a fucking vibe, and then y'all are best fucking friends, and then maybe y'all never talk to each other again, or maybe that's the rest of your life.
Again,
it's like,
I am straight, so
one of those
it's just
things
not...
where it's like sometimes you meet people and it's just, and they also didn't have any reason to didn't have any reason, but the reason they disliked each other, it wasn't like a deep issue of like, oh, you killed my mom and you you know.
No, that's fair.
They had an issue to they had a reason to dislike each other, but it was more kind of like the Legally Blonde thing where it was like, well, you stole my boyfriend and that's the biggest thing ever, and she's like, you're trying to steal my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of talk and go, you're a human, you've been through shit, you can kind of just move on and go, it's okay, and be better.
True. I don't disagree with that. There's nothing that's unbelievable, but the thing that I feel like they get away with, because it's made by people and it's like the actors, the behind the scenes people, the writers, the producers, and the fans are all people who fucking love this story. So you're okay with kind of just like, you know, mentioning in passing, and then you'll fill in the rest. And I'm saying, as someone who's watching it, I'm like, the only reason I buy them being friends is because those damn actors I know are have been like, they're like basically inside of each other. You know, they might as well be having sex on the not the runway. What is it called? The circuit.
The press circuit.
The press circuit. Like, those two love each other.
They do,
and it does come across. But there's so much in both, and especially for a film that's been stretched across 2 goddamn movies. There's so many scenes that they will say something and maybe kind of show it once and go, that's it. And we never have to deal with that again. And I'm like, I kind of needed a lot more to get attached to these characters, because as someone who's watching it, and again, that's why at the end of the day, it might not matter for me. I'm going to end up loving it with you later on. But I'm reviewing this as a person who's watching it once. There's a lot of things I'm like, I'm not attached to these characters the way I think I could be. If you watched and filmed this movie as someone who had not seen the play and like put effort into like showing certain things. You say she's doing stuff for the animals, we get one half scene and she doesn't even have that good of a plan. You say that she flies off the handle, we have her level throughout both movies is like this in every scene, whether whether she's just fucked a man who belonged to someone else, whether her sister just died, whether everyone's coming at her, whether she just learned that the wizard is like, you know, not who she thought she was. Again, I don't want to discredit the actors because I think they're phenomenal, but I think in terms of the way it was written and directed, she's like that. And from what I'm told from the play,
podcast. What did you do?
Sorry. For those who aren't visually inclined, it's one note. My mom, who was an acting coach, used to say you need peaks and valleys when it comes to script and performances. Like you don't want something to sound the same.
There were peaks and valleys.
I am saying you are love this, but for a 4-hour epic, I don't feel like I saw much change from those characters from beginning to end. She was never flying off the handle. She was pretty chill throughout. She's chill throughout almost everything she does. There was not much of difference.
She flew off the handle.
She never flew off the handle.
But she did get more angry or more passionate about things that other people didn't care about in her world. So for them, she would have been flying off the handle. Could they have played that harder and made her angrier? Yeah, but then do we want to push into an angry black woman trope?
Okay, well, you don't have to push into angry black woman, but I'm saying as this is a valid criticism as someone who has not seen the play.
That's fair. I say
for a 4-hour movie, there's not much that changes from the beginning to the end, and I didn't see a lot of peaks and valleys. I get told a lot of things. I get told that they're friendships. I get told that they've experienced and changed a lot, but I don't see a lot of things.
I think their characters are pretty different in the end.
Barely. And to me, like even small things like Fiyero, why you didn't have to show us that Fiyero, like you could have had fun with making us guess whether or not he was actually anti-Elphaba, but the film for the most part plays it so safe across both movies. You know, you see the scene because you can't have anyone hate your characters. I think that's the thing. I think we're afraid of having characters who are like really morally gray. You know, for a book that was awful. Like the book is really like raw and like basically R. The musical is, I've heard, a little bit tamer. And then the movies were PG, and for the most part, I think just extremely tame in how it tackled its characters.
I think that you should probably watch the stage musical because they definitely went into a lot more in this one.
Maybe.
I think.
But for me, the subject matter, I've like, the characters never to me felt like they tell me all the time, like, I'm going to be wicked. What does she do? She picks up a girl. Cool. You know, like they have this whole
She stole a little girl and threatened to kill her. That's pretty fucking evil.
And like, and the second thing that pissed me off, she lets Fiyero get away. Bro, there's like 3 guards. Okay? There's 3 guards. None of them have their guns out.
Too. I was like, look, I know he has to get captured, but technically he could have very easily gotten away. A few of the monkeys could have taken him. He could have hopped on the back of the broom. Like
there's so many.
He could have ran into the cornfield.
You know, to me, here's the best example of what I think the movie is at its core. There's a moment very early on where she's again saving the animals, and we only see half of that for one scene, which I was like do this like real stuff. Like this, honestly, oddly enough, this movie did kind of remind me of not only Dune and Dune Part 1, but it also reminded me of like a Lawrence of Arabia, which is a film I compared Dune to, which is about, I mean, all 3 of those films follow the exact same plot. Someone who's in high society, who's trying to blend in, but never blends in. And then the second half is when they've been like, fuck it, I'm going to fight for the people on the outskirts. And then you see them fighting. You saw it in Dune Part 2 where, you know, he's joined the, God, I can't remember the name of the Sand People, but he's joined them and you see multiple attempts and attacks to protect them. I think you could have done more with her, but instead we see one scene, and then every time else she's doing stuff, I'm like, boring.
Dune. It's not a 2.5 hour all dialogue and scenes.
No.
There's songs, there's music.
That's fine. I love the songs.
Has to go.
I'm not asking. I'm saying if you're gonna sing at me and say things are happening but not show it, I'm just like
But I think that's
because a lot of times she's like.
But that's what it comes down to is you don't like.
No. I promise you.
Can you give me a musical that does a lot of good showing rather than telling?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Because it's the medium that I think
West Side Story shows you its world really well while also singing.
They didn't really have to cover anything.
Look, it's to me my complaint about the first movie, I still stand by. You should have shown those animals, even if it's during the musical number.
Which I did agree.
All right. So
I did agree with that.
That's an example. I'm not saying get rid of the music. I'm not saying make it more action heavy.
Get rid of the music, but I'm
not saying make it more straight. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you're saying that.
Like, I just want to make it clear. I'm not trying to dismiss this, which is clearly supposed to be a musical. But if you're going to stretch something out for fucking 4 hours, like, I think put a little bit more effort into showing me what these characters are doing in between their songs. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm being sung at. I'm not seeing it. Like, her big plan, they're like, you're doing so much. What's Elphaba done? She did one scene where we kind of see her rescue the animals, and then she's always in her room messing with the Grimoire to do what? Move things around? Put stuff? She's got a whole ass poster on her board that says, expose the lies of the wizard. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, shit.
He just hit a thing. Oh, no.
Oh, that's okay.
This out.
Nah, that's fine. We're still recording. But, you know, like...
yeah, no, but I think, you know, you also see her attempt to go and write in the clouds that the wizard lies.
Cool.
Like, she's trying to get the message across. She tries to go to the wizard and go, you're going to tell everybody what's going on.
And then she does this whole scene, which, by that way, No Good Deed, awesome fucking song.
Oh, fantastic.
But it feels a little undermined to me because it's like, first off, stop singing, go back, save Fiyero. You don't need to be turning him into... It's 3 people. It's like 3 or 4 people. You could easily overpower them. You supposedly wicked witch who's been doing all these things to save everyone.
But you have to remember... The reason is because we're setting up the Wizard of Oz.
I get it, and that's what I'm saying. That is my criticism, is there's a lot of aspects that are lazy in these films, because at the end of the day, the filmmakers can go, everyone knows where the story's supposed to go, so we'll just get there. Instead of actually taking the time to write a story that feels like it actually progressed from the next scene.
I don't know. I think if you do too much, like, I think, look, I'm not going to fight you and
that's why I'll say that's why it needed to do one or the other. It should go a little bit more metaphorical and kind of a little bit surreal and kind of, you know, like, have it feel like a Tim Burton-y film where the world's not, it's like there, but it's kind of like, otherwise, it just feels like it goes through so much pain to show everything, but then they tell us a lot of stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Look, maybe y'all will agree with me or not, but I think that they put this movie and this property in the hands, wicked witch in the hands of the nerdy people who love it, which is something that everybody says, can you just give the property to the people who love it so that they can make it correctly for the people who love it and will love it as what it is.
Yeah.
And they did that, and it came out the way that it pretty much needed to. And I think, therefore, it's kind of just like, yeah, but they didn't do that. But that's what the people who wanted, essentially.
But that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm saying,
and
like,
I think, yeah, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, there are things that could be done differently. Yeah, you could make it this specific, like, movie epic and make it Star Wars-ish or like this or that.
I'm not trying to turn it into another movie.
That's fine. But I'm just saying, yeah, but as you're saying, like, oh, but they could have done this. And as a person who's never seen it, like, I don't understand this or that. And I'm like, but you're actually getting so much more than you would get from the musical, and I understand maybe.
But that's what I'm saying, is I don't feel like you are.
I understand viewing it in a different medium makes it feel a little bit different, but you're already getting a lot more in between, a lot more backstory, a lot more cutaways, a lot more things that fill it out. But you're also kind of being like, as somebody who hasn't seen it, I want to explain to somebody who hasn't seen it, and it's like, yes, but also it's not. It's like, I think when people try to almost pander that way to make it like, hey, this is something that is deeply, deeply theater. This is the theater movie. We want to pander to every audience. So we're going to pull and push and move things around to make this something that every single person will like, that will appeal to the most possible people ever. And then you lose the heart of what's going on. It's what's happened in a lot of properties.
But recently. I would argue that this movie is pandering to the biggest crowd possible. And my issue is not about making a whole other movie. My issue is not about turning it into an action set piece. My issue is not about adding more scenes. My issue is that they are very shallow characters that, unless you know the musical and you know the story beforehand, I think it's very shallow. I don't feel you ever really go to the depths of these characters beyond the fact that I can tell.
I think you should watch the musical because I think that
I don't need to watch. I'm saying,
but what I'm saying, I'm not saying that you should watch the musical to get the depth of the characters. I'm saying you should watch the musical to see where this is coming from, so you can see, oh, actually, we've gotten a lot more than what's in the musical.
But I don't care. I'm saying, as someone who's watching it, regardless of what you say, they did better or not. I am saying most of my issues, because they decided to stretch this out over 2 movies and 4 hours. I am saying, as a critic, it's not my duty as if it's the most important thing for a straight man to talk on a microphone all the time. But if you are asking for my honest opinion as a reviewer, I am saying there are a lot of parts where I don't feel connected to these characters beyond kind of the scenes that kind of just tap into those like primal, emotions for me.
I don't think I'm necessarily fighting you on that aspect. I'm saying, yeah, there are things that are going to be a little bit more, maybe fill in the blank. There are things that are going to be a little bit more, oh, you could show us this a little bit more. But overall, I think it was done the way it needed to be done.
But I'm saying it gets stretched out and feels kind of long and like a slog because, again, the performances for the most part do not go they don't play with a lot of it. Like, you really could have leaned into Glinda being a little bit more selfish and kind of like
what's more selfish than her like letting her friend fly off and enjoying the bliss of being the good one.
Okay, you could have leaned into Elphaba being a lot more of a wicked witch, like actually doing what she says she's trying to do, and really flying off the handle.
See more of that. Yes.
There is not much difference in her performance in this movie than all of the first movie, and to me, I'm like, that is what tells me I'm not feeling like I'm watching a real movie. I feel like I'm watching a greatest hits of all the good moments from the musical. Because to me, I'm like, if
every moment from the musical.
Great. What I'm saying is I needed a performance where she wasn't this cool, calm, collected person. Everyone says she flies off the handle because that's what's written into the play.
It's part 1 and 2. It's not 2 movies.
Okay, you just said that one to piss me off, though.
No.
Well, they did it. They split it up. So, yeah, film some extra stuff and make it feel different. But
it's a part 1 and 2. Like, that's why.
It's 4 hours of the same performance.
But that's what I'm saying.
Stretched over 4 hours.
That's the reason they said it's part 1 and part 2, because it's one story. As much as, yes, each one can have its own beginning, middle, and end, and each one can feel a little bit more like its own thing, it still is technically one story.
But I'm saying, as a director, if you have a character and you actually allow this character to be kind of unlikable and intense, but then realize that in the first part, and then suddenly she's given an opportunity to actually blend in, but then you can see the actual pain, and like you see multiple scenes, not just musical moments, but like you allow her performance to not just be a 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. And like, she actually is going through these peaks and valleys of like, I will really pretend and try to fit in. And you see the pain of her trying to fit in, but then you see the pain of her, or then you see like the bliss of her really being able to be friends with Glinda. But then you see her once again at the end, like that anger and that fire comes back when she realizes the wizard is a fraud. And then now that is a good act. I'm not saying add anything in the story. Like, the story's there. That's why I don't have an issue with the pacing. I think story-wise, there's a lot to be mined from these characters. Then you start off the second part with her being reckless and militant and like leaning into that part where she's intense and like and endangered and feels kind of othered. And then suddenly she's given a piece of hope again, where the wizard offers once more an olive branch, and then she has to like, no, you know what? Not only now am I realizing that you're evil. Like, even when she said run, that was like the most I'm like, ooh, like now we're gonna see her. Doesn't do much with that. Her sister dies, barely cries. I get it. I kind of like the way she played it, but then of course they have that whole funny scene, which I'm like, cool, we're doing this whole funny comedy scene at the grave of your sister. Really kind of diffuses any sense of pathos. Pathos?
I think pathos.
Pathos.
Look, listen. I will say I can see what you're saying, that there's things that could have been leaned into or shown a little bit more or differently. I won't fight you on that. But it also sounds like you're calling for a rewrite in certain areas.
I'm not calling for a rewrite. It's around. There in the script.
I understand, but it does sound like a lot of the things you're asking for would kind of demand a rewrite in certain areas.
It would demand
like things to be moved around.
No, it would demand them allowing and this is not going to happen with $1 billion, studio and $1 billion movie, but it would demand them allowing their characters to be unlikable and to actually have character arcs. Because at the end, when they sing For Good, they are not much different in their performance and the way they've tackled or done anything. Like, the worst thing Elphaba did is have, technically on paper, the worst thing she's done is the fact that she happened to have sex with the man who loved her the night that he was supposed to be married to someone else. They barely lean into the fascist, like, they barely lean into like the fascism of it all. They barely lean into the anger. The only character that I see really going in peaks and valleys in their performance and actually showcasing how evil the world has transformed him was fucking Ethan Slater as Bach. Because his peak and valley of like going from this meek person to this love-struck person to this like vengeful, angry person, that was an actual performance of like you go from point A to point B to point C. Whereas like to me, Elphaba and Glinda, when they're singing For Good, I'm like, y'all have been friends from day one. You had kind of a comical fight on your sister's grave, which mind you should have been way more fucking pissed off at Glinda.
Well, she didn't know Glinda had anything to do with it.
Yeah, but she assumed as much, that she's a part of this fascist, like, essentially, she, like, that's the thing. There's nothing different. Glinda is not really doing much different in this second movie than she was in the first part, when in reality, she's gotten everything she wants. She is kind of this tyrannical character, but they will not allow you to hate these characters.
But that's the thing, is she gets called out.
Because they want this movie...
In the end, she
For
changes and actually is like, hey, I'm going to throw it all away.
Elphaba barely was wicked. She didn't even steal Fiyero.
But that's the point of the movie, is the Wicked Witch was never actually wicked.
But what I'm saying...
You missed the point of all of it.
What I'm saying is they don't allow their characters to be anything other than cool girl boss. This is fun and we love them.
Fantastic.
And we never like...
Fantastic.
Great.
We spent an hour arguing about this. Is there anything else you have to say?
No, what else do you have to say? What are other things?
Gracious.
I think
my notes, let's just say, my couple of things that I thought were critiquable and kind of funny were the scene with Nessa.
Right.
Where she casts the spell because she's mad at Bach, and she says, I'm gonna take your heart, and she casts the spell, and her sister's like, hey, fucking quit, you don't know what you're doing. And then Bach's like, oh my god, my heart. And she's like, and Bach's like, oh my god. She's like, I'm gonna cast a spell on your heart. And Bach immediately is like, oh my god, my heart. And she turns and goes, what is it? And I'm
you
like,
stupid.
You just cast a spell on his heart. What do you think it is? And then when he's like, my heart, and she immediately turns to Elphaba and goes, this is your fault. And it's like, how? You literally did this yourself. Like, take some accountability, Nessa.
No, she will never take accountability.
And then she's like begging Elphaba to do something about it. And then of course, Elphaba does something, because that's what she's been asking, is why don't you help me ever? And so Elphaba does what she thinks is right. And then when he comes back out as a freaking Tin Man, she's like, what did you do? And she goes, I asked her to stop. No, you didn't.
You're the
you told
worst.
her to do it.
You're the worst, Nessa. But that's why I like her, though, because she's like such a smarmy character.
I think she is the kid that has never gotten in trouble for anything, and it doesn't know how to take accountability, because she's always been kind of babied and kind of let to be the victim, probably. And that kind of thing. Okay,
so here's another thing I have. Again, all of these are just symptoms of a movie I feel that was made by people who know the stuff too well. And to your credit, I don't know how I feel about the way movies are made nowadays, but I do understand. I'm glad we're not in the era where, say, like, if this had been made 10 or 20 years ago, they would have
made it really dark and like moody.
It would have been way too dark. It would have been like a rap musical. They would have cast people who didn't care about it all.
Yeah.
So it's like, I appreciate that we've moved away from the only people who get to tell these stories are people who don't give a fuck about them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're asking me what my issues are, it's like I feel like I'm watching a movie that's made by people who are so obsessed with this story that they're not going to give a critical eye to it. Case in point, the world doesn't feel real to me. First off, why does Munchkinland seem to be the most epicenter of everything? And why the hell was Nessa like is never present? Like, they don't do anything with her. They have scenes, again, they always say like, I'm the wicked witch of the East. And it's like, yeah, we have like the one scene where she, you know, puts out a decree just to stop Bach. But I'm like, I don't know. You could be having more fun with it. She could have been at that Munchkin land. She could have been rolling around telling people like, stop singing or whatever. Like, you know, I'm mad, like anything. Like, they don't involve her. The only time you ever see her in Munchkin land is when she's rolling around 10 scenes later going, Bach, where are you? I'm like, yo, that guy ran away like a whole half hour ago.
But the same way he can't let go of Ariana, of Glinda, even though she doesn't like him, she can't let go of him, even though he clearly doesn't like her. So they're kind of both two sides of the same coin.
I get that. Again, I buy into her. I'm just like, you don't utilize these characters enough. You tell us who they are.
They had a lot of ground to cover. They should have had 4 movies.
It doesn't take a lot of ground. You can literally include her in the scene at the beginning when everyone's in Munchkinland, and you could see her sneering or doing things and like being the governor or whatever. But these movies don't care.
But when they were showing the animals getting hurt and Elphaba freeing them.
Sure.
In order to cut to her to Munchkinland, she would have to be there. That would require another day of filming. That would require another at least 30 seconds of film, which means that it expands the film by that much more. And all of these little clips that you want are 30 seconds. No,
you take it away from you take away from freaking all the riffs that goddamn what's his name? Bowen,
Yang, and them. They didn't have any in this one.
Yeah, they did.
Like 2 things.
They had a lot at the beginning.
Did they? I heard one.
Again,
it's fine.
It's fine. It is what it is. I'm saying these are my criticism, and I think there are things that could be changed without rewriting the movie. I'm not saying the movie needs to be rewrit.
I think you think you're not saying that. But anyway,
I think I'm saying treat your characters like more than just talking points and telling us how they feel. Show us how they feel.
My other thing that when I was watching it this time, I was like, you didn't seem to feel anything for your sister. And if I was going to be devil's advocate, I would say, oh, well, they just got in a fight and she just flew away from her for the last time. It was like, I'm over it. But ultimately, as somebody who's lost their sibling, it really doesn't matter where you were at with them emotionally. You grew up with them. You care about them. You are going to mourn their passing.
Exactly.
And it's going to be a hard thing. And you're not going to, well, you might fight somebody. But yes,
it's not going to be funny.
That could have been a harder scene. But yeah, that was one that I will say as a fan, I went, we had to move on. We didn't have time. And I just let it go. And I can say for that
see, that's a snowball effect because you have this scene where she shows up again, no emotion.
Hey, look,
they have
a
comedy scene.
I don't need what I'm saying lean into this anymore. You've already said your piece.
But
I agree, and we can move on. It's fine.
Don't silence me.
Hey, what?
How do you like being silenced?
God.
No, but you have this whole scene, which again, you're like, oh, we had no time. We had to move on. Yeah, you could have not had the 2-minute comedy fight scene over her dead sister's body.
That's part of that's part of the show. People like that. So you have to have that.
And that's what I'm telling you. As a person who's watching it for the first time, it takes me out. It makes me not care for these characters.
Well, we don't care for you.
Great. Cool. Well, I'm letting you know my actual criticism of a film.
And I'm letting you know that I don't care.
I'm sorry. And it's like, I think that's the thing that's hard for people in theater. They're like, this is my precious thing. And then it gets out into the world and they're like, well, you have no right to judge it. I'm like, well, it's in front of me now. But that's why I prefaced that at the end of the day, I don't want to trash something that you love for the reasons that you're not going to care about.
And the only thing I will say with the fight is I felt it was a little corny when I watched it on stage. But in this movie, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. And I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it, I think, because with the first movie, like I said in our reaction, when they flipped from the Ozdust to Popular, and the first words out of their mouth after us bawling at the Ozdust was the joke of... they started with the, Fiyero and I are going to be married. He doesn't know yet. And it's like, it's funny, but there's like 3 consecutive jokes right there.
Yeah.
That I'm like, still kind of like, yeah, yeah. And I'm still kind of getting over it, which I'm like, that was like a flip where it was like, I kind of felt that the burden of the flip. Whereas like on stage, maybe you don't feel that as much. Maybe you do. But I did kind of feel that kind of flip. Here, I was kind of like, I guess I personally appreciated that, we didn't lean into the sadness because then I got to enjoy the fight scene. So who knows? You got one where you really leaned into something, and then you got the other one where they said, we got to end this. We can't make a 3rd movie because Josiah's going to be mad at us.
God, listen, Nessa. Yeah, I don't care about you. Oh, what did you think? What did you think of the way they handled Dorothy?
That was fine. I expected that. I expected it because
that's how it's in the stage play. The musical.
I expected it because they said it got released somewhere that they're not showing her face. And I was like, at first I was like, what? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's how it is in the musical. And personally, I'm like, I think when I saw it in the musical, I was a little bit like, man, we didn't really see Dorothy. But then I was like, I mean, it's not her story. This is literally not about her. So I'm completely fine with that.
But again, I would say I actually didn't mind that we didn't see her. I like that she felt like, and this is a deep cut reference, but she felt like the way they treat Jesus in the movie Ben-Hur, where It's like you don't see
I don't
Jesus.
know any of those references.
Well, you don't see Jesus. It's like it takes place during like the crucifixion. You never see him. Or is it the robe?
Who's Ben-Hur?
Not Ben-Hur. It's a biblical epic that takes place around Jesus, the same way that this kind of takes place around Wizard of Oz, and you never see Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like his face is off. Is it the robe or is it Ben-Hur?
I feel like
Might be
I
the
would
robe.
say the robe because Ben-Hur sounds like a
It's a biblical. It's an epic. It's like an old timey epic.
Ben-Hur sounds like it sounds like Lawrence of Arabia.
No, but it takes place in the Swords and Sandals. It takes place in. Doesn't matter.
Ben-Hur does.
Yes.
But Ben sounds like such a modern name.
Yeah. Well, that's the Ashley effect. Anyway.
Tiffany effect.
Whatever. One of those names. But again, God, I'm sorry. I'm over here trying to actually come up.
Cool. What's the for good part of this for you?
No, I'm gonna keep talking about. This is a podcast. We talk.
Okay, yeah, no, I just want to see.
I
just want to hear something good.
I will.
Specifically. Do you still have more to talk about?
Yes, I was thinking. I'm like, I think you again. I knew you were gonna do this. You were gonna try to turn this into a whole propaganda about how.
I'm not turning it into propaganda.
You just wanted me to sing the phrases.
I let you say what you had to say. I was surprised you said it was good off the top. I understand that you do have your issues. You just tend to talk about it for a long time.
Okay, fair, but
What's
also
the next thing.
God damn. Like, I felt like the way they treated Dorothy, again, I didn't mind. I don't care if we never see her face. I actually like that aspect.
Yeah.
I love, at the end, the way they treated her killing Elphaba. Sorry, I did quotation marks for those who can't see. You know, that was a beautiful scene. Again, watching Glinda have to watch her friend die,
quote unquote.
You know, that worked, and you didn't need to see Dorothy's face, but the way they treated her, like the way they threw her into the story, for me, again, if you're not going to go kind of a more surrealist type route where it's like it's fine, it's a fairy tale. If you're going to kind of make this world feel lived in, the way they threw it in, I was like, I don't know. I feel like I'm suddenly watching Lion King 1.5. Like, even if it would have just been.
But is it a little bit that energy though?
No, I get it in the play on stage, and that can work. But I'm telling you, in the way they decided to tackle these movies, like they're this big epic, everything kind of gets filled in. It's a long movie. We need to show everything because it's 4 hours. We couldn't possibly skip on stuff except for character development. Like part of me was like, I don't know. It's a simple scene. Just show like even Elphaba like watching Glinda talk to Dorothy, because for me, I'm like, this is a huge figure that suddenly comes in, and again, if you're watching it, you don't know what's happening. You're like, what the fuck? Who is this girl? Like, why does she matter so much? Like at least show her steal her sister's shoes or something. I get it, you saw the scene, but it's just, to me, it's a lot of movie of being told how to feel, not actually seeing it. Yes, she says it. That girl stole my sister's shoes, and that was the moment I went, oh. And I shouldn't have to just be like, oh, I should be watching.
Oh, is it like you didn't remember that's what happened?
I didn't realize that was something that mattered. There's so many times in this movie where things happen that I'm like, oh, that was supposed to matter? I didn't know because you didn't show me. You just told me. So when she's like, she stole my sister's shoes, I'm like, first off, you barely crying over your sister, so does it even matter? Secondly, we could have seen this girl. We don't have to see her face because I was fine with that. You could see her take the shoes and watch Elphaba get like angry at this new character. Whatever. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm ranting. You want to shut me up.
Hey,
it's fine.
It's a podcast. Take your time.
Again, like I think the character they handled the best in terms of like peaks and valleys was like, I was very surprised at how intense the Tin Man got. And I would have loved to see that from more of the characters in terms of like watching them actually, you know, oh, like the moment where she's like, there's one thing I've been thinking about when Glinda realizes that Madame Morble killed Nessa, and she's like, there's one thing I've been thinking about, Nessa and the cyclone. And I literally in the theater went, oh, you didn't know that was Madame Morble? Sure, I guess, because again, so much of this movie just relies on the fact that they're like, you know it, we'll tell you it, but we don't need to show the actors going through any emotional journey.
She said, what's it called?
She said, sure. She said.
Who said?
Everything said.
What?
Everything is being told to me in this movie.
What? Oh, so you didn't realize it was Madame Morble?
No, I knew it was Madame Morble. It's fucking obvious it was Madame Morble. We see her do it. I didn't realize that Glinda didn't know that Madame Morble, like, I know they said it, but again, her performance was very much like, oh, it was an accident. And you're like, you don't believe that? And I'm like, that sure, it was a good scene, but that to me did not sell any form of delusion. Again, most of this movie,
I think it did. I think it
to
was
you, because you know the story. I'm telling you.
No, I don't, because I'm actually not as familiar with the second half, and I think I think the performance was like, she was kind of like, yo, this was an accident, and she's like, do you fucking believe that? And you got to watch her face kind of go, wait, do I believe that? Holy shit, did she do this? And then the next scene, she went and did it. I think there's some subtleties there that maybe you might have looked over. Maybe you get to watch it a third time.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it more times than I won't.
Let's watch it again.
I'm complaining now because I'm probably never gonna really complain about it.
Look, you can complain about it, and I'm sorry if I was rushing you through your complaints. But I understand that you have your complaints, and I don't fully disagree with everything. But I do think that there were some subtleties in there that, even not being fully 100% familiar with the second half the way I was with the first half, and even in the first half, I was like actively not. I was like, look, I saw the stage play like 2 or 3 years prior to the movies coming out, and I was like, I don't want to refresh myself. Yeah, I want to have a little bit of like, I want some discoveries to happen for me too. So even with that, there were some things I think some of my favorite stuff in this movie, and my brother actually said this too, and I had already been thinking it, was Glinda reacting to Fiyero leaving her.
Oh, you mean dying?
Leaving her.
Oh, Glinda reacting. Yes.
Yes.
Why the fuck am I confusing these people's goddamn names?
I'm going to point to pink or green every time. So
Jesus.
Glinda.
Okay, good. Yeah, that was a great moment. That was a good moment.
She played that so well. I honestly almost cried for her in the first watch, like when she reprises I'm Not That Girl, and then right after she finishes the last line and she kind of breaks, where she really just lets everything hit her for the first time. But just watching her when he comes in and like grabs her and is like, Elphaba, let's go, and you see kind of Ari's face, Glinda's face, kind of process like, you two this whole time. And then I think it was really natural the way it progressed into, they ran off and she's kind of just processing as they're just doing their thing in the background. And she's like, her sister, go get her fucking sister. Yeah. Because she's still kind of in this haze of fuck her and fuck him and like, what's going on? And you guys want her set up her sister. Like, fine. Like, I guess we'll get her. I guess I'm the bad guy now, And then kind of like when she later on, like, sees and she goes off, she sings, she cries, like that was sad. And then she goes and gets her when she sees that the sister died, and she's like, man, but she's not letting herself put it together yet. Right. That was like, I did that. And she comes in, she has the fight with Elphaba, and then Fiyero once again comes and puts the gun on her, and she realizes like that was rough. Like how much it's like, wow, it's really fuck me, huh? Like we were about to get married like yesterday or however long that was. And like now you're pointing a gun at me, and just watching her kind of have that realization. But then also still coming to realize through that how it was like, man, this is like a fairy tale moment for the two of them. I thought it was my fairy tale, but
said he loves her
and they love each other. Yeah. And like when he was like, get out, Elphaba, she was like, as much as we're mad at each other and we just fought, I do love her and I want her to leave. And she hands her hat and is like, just fucking go, because right now we have a bigger issue, me and him. Yeah. And I just like watching, like, just I feel like there was so much, like I could talk just so much through all of the processing that she did through all of that.
That's fair. When you say like that, I can like,
and then finally having that last moment of like, they're hurting him and she's like, fuck, I still care about him too. And you know what? It's okay. And that final moment where she goes, he loves her. And she just has to kind of like, let it go and be like, yeah, I love them. So yeah, it is what it is. And I need to process this by myself without hating them or ruining their fucking lives. So I think that was kind of one of my favorite parts.
Well, I do love their
going through.
Yeah. I love the moment before too. The we're about to have sex song, like that whole.
Oh yeah, I love that.
I liked the way, I don't know, the composition of that song. I thought it was really interesting. I actually was surprised. There were a few small moments that I was kind of like, okay, but not really things I would say were bad. Again, if I was more into musicals, I probably wouldn't have an issue at all. Mm-hmm. But none of them would be even like, there was no moment I thought that's a bad musical moment. Nor would I even say like, again, I wouldn't hold it against the film. It's like, wow, that wasn't as iconic as the first half. I'm like, no, I get it. Like, I understand what this second half is trying to accomplish. For the most part, most of the songs I liked them. I liked that there was kind of a difference to the way they sounded from the first half. There was a little bit darker tones.
Yeah.
I appreciated kind of the musical performances. No Good Deed is great. Like I said, I felt a little undone by, I was already a little annoyed that she let Fiyero go. I was a little annoyed. I was like, this, again, entirely preventable. Also, the Grimoire seems evil. Like, the Grimoire seems like it's got a goddamn mind of its own.
I think it does have a little bit of a mind of its own. Where
like, don't trust that shit.
It's like, sure, like, I guess we'll do it like this, Or maybe she knows, like, it's going to turn him inhuman and it's going to be whatever he's around. Maybe that's what it is it's like a preservation spell that kind of processes whatever's around them, because Bach was near all that silver.
Right. Okay, I see that.
The what's it called? The tea set.
Yeah.
So maybe he got turned into metal to preserve him.
Which again, I love the design of that Tin Man.
Really cool.
Oh, that was so fucking cool.
And then obviously
Fiyero
was in the cornfield. So maybe. But this is me filling in gaps myself. I'm not going to say that's canonical.
That's a fine gap to fill in because there's something weird and creepy and mysterious about it.
Yeah.
But again, I was a little mad before, and then afterwards I was like, damn, you had those monkeys get all dressed up to do what? Terrorize a girl for all of 2 seconds on screen. Like, I wanted to see them.
That's what happened in the Wizard of Oz.
I wanted to see them fucking shit up. I wanted to see them like tossing.
But that's, well, I guess we could have seen that a little bit more. But that's what happened in the Wizard of Oz. They fucked him up. They tore out his arms.
I'm talking about. I want to see the monkeys messing with. Like they're like
messing with the city.
Because again, you have this big epic scene. She has this awesome musical number, and I thought you were talking about. I love when she cries out for Fiyero in No Good Deed when she sees the vision of being dead.
Yeah,
that got me.
That was an interesting switch up because in the musical, that is Elphaba that starts off the song going Fiyero. So it was interesting to have Glinda do it, and I thought maybe Elphaba would do it.
Did I say Glinda? I meant Elphaba. God damn it, Josiah. What the fuck is my problem?
Wait, when?
Elphaba, in the middle of No Good Deed, when she's thinking about all the things that have led her to this moment. So she's like, yeah, and she cries out to him, and then you see.
And she always has those. She always hits those.
But I imagine that in that moment, that's the moment when she thinks he's dead or essentially like never himself again. That was good. So then I just was a little annoyed where I'm like, wow, that is so cool. Look at her flying there. She said she's finally going to be evil. She's got all this army of monkeys. Holy shit. What's about to happen? Nothing. I did love all the scenes of them. Like, let's burn the witch. Like that was what I was talking about in the non-spoiler section. Like, I love the No Good Deed and then like all the reprises of like, let's burn the witch and then eat, SpongeBob. God damn it. But like the Tin Man singing.
Yeah.
And like that. And then the weight of Glinda looking at, Tin Man as being this evil thing.
Yeah.
That like this vengeful, angry person. Like that was great.
Did she know that was Bach?
I was trying to figure that out too. Because like it works both ways. It worked either, oh my God, that's Bach, and look how angry he's become, or it just works at like, wow, look at this person who's going to kill my best friend, like really angry. And again, that only works because I think his performance was like really fucking terrifying. Yeah. Like he's scary.
Oh, he was very angry.
It makes everything around him work, and that's just what I feel like I could have used more of. So then I was like, oh man, what's Elphaba ready to do? We're about to fuck some shit up. It felt just like the run scene when she's like, run. I'm like, oh man, what's about to happen? Oh, you're just gonna let him walk away, the wizard. Okay, cool. Oh man, he got an army full of monkeys. What are you about to do? You about to free all the animals? You about to fuck these villagers up? You're evil now, and the most evil thing you do is pick up a girl who stole, a thief. Yeah, honestly,
she's not a thief. She was given the shoes.
Thief.
She doesn't know she's a thief.
Hey, I'm gonna side with Elphaba and Glinda and say fuck that girl.
No, I'm not saying.
Fuck Dorothy. She prancing through that town.
She doesn't know that she's doing anything wrong.
She got a goddamn care in the world.
She doesn't.
She got Toto on a leash too.
Yeah, I know that was I wonder why they did that.
They did that because the original Dorothy was a lot more chill. She was like, "Oh, Toto, I can trust you and all that," and she picks him up and it's all.
No, I know. Well, I think because I was saying I know some people were theorizing she was going to hate Dorothy because she has the dog on a leash.
That's it. which again they could have leaned into,
but they didn't. That wasn't leaned
God
into
damn it.
necessarily. But I will say
she was a nothing character. They could have done something to actually introduce her as a.
But as much as you're saying like, oh, she should have been more wicked, I'm like, she was as wicked as the Wicked Witch was. Like the Wicked Witch just snatched a girl and tried to get her sister's shoes back. Realistically,
maybe I'm what's it called?
You just wanted too much.
Desensitized.
You're desensitized, and you wanted more boy shit.
I don't want more.
You're like,
boy
I
shit.
want explosions. I want her to blow up the town. I want her to throw the. I want her to throw the Munchkins off a cliff.
Look, if you're gonna spend 2 fucking movies and 4 hours telling me that you're gonna do everything for these animals, I want to actually see it. Fuck me. Excuse the fuck out of me. Because to me, it looks like you're lazy, Elphaba. And if you're going to be lazy, then you're going to have to make her then lean into her being kind of flying off the handle more. Like lean into her feeling more like kind of unwieldy. And because I think that's what I think like is in the text. Like she's not doing a lot, but in the text, she's supposed to be this character that's kind of like unpredictable and you don't know what's going to happen. And to me, she almost like
is a little bit more.
She's like the Grimoire almost. Like you don't know what's going to freaking happen. And she's a mirror of the wizard. Like I like the fact that she ends up saving herself in the end by pretending to die the same way the wizard would probably pull some shit like magic trick out of his hat. Like in a lot of ways, she mirrors all of these characters and all of these things that are like crazy and unpredictable. And it's just like, it's kind of just chill the entire time. And I'm like, I don't know. I was expecting either to see you be competent at your job or to explain the fact that you're not doing much more, be like you're unpredictable. Like, yeah, you know, fly off the handle more. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm complaining and I don't need to be complaining.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think your personality is just so intense that you're like, that's not flying off the handle.
That's true.
It's like when
where's the Italian?
It's like when I was watching this season of Love Island or this most recent season of Love Island US, and Huda had her crash out, and everybody's like, oh my God, she should be arrested. This is crazy. That was abusive. And I was like, girl, that's a Saturday night at my house. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Fair.
It's like, there's
okay.
So there's probably an element of that too.
That's true.
But I want to circle back to No Good Deed because I've been waiting for that song since literally part 1. That is one of my all-time favorite songs.
I would say that's up there for me.
Yeah,
that's
and
great.
I love what they did with it. It's a fantastic song. It's an emotional peak. It's a vocal peak. It's fantastic, and I love the way that we got to. Since we're not on stage, we got more than, you know, a black stage and a glowing pot. We got to see her at the castle, and she was floating while also chanting from the book, and she was using her magic, and she was kind of flying, and the monkeys were all around. Like she's alone on stage for that song usually.
I figured.
So seeing the monkeys like fly around and having it cut to like Nessa, Dr. Dillerman feet, and like.
Poor Dillerman.
Super, super well fucking done. He came back though. He's okay.
I got a little teary-eyed when he came back, and he was also in his like old man, this is my twilight years as a teacher sweater. I was like
tweed sweater.
I was like, oh, look at Dr. Dillerman, Professor Dillerman. He's all professional, and he came out of retirement for this.
Professional Dillerman. Well, not out of retirement. He came out of a cage. So the wizard was just going to keep them locked up because like he was going to allow her to like free all the other animals, but I'm not sure what his goal was for those specific ones. If those were just his special little ones he liked to look at.
Because I know when they were at the Somewhere Over the Rainbow song, No Place Like Home song, and she runs into Dulcibert, which was sad.
Yeah, that was so sweet when Dulcibert walked out.
I know the animals said something about like anyone who speaks up, they get taken away.
Yeah.
So those were clearly the more dissenting animals, which is why he said like some animals are more dangerous.
Yeah.
And he was probably just going to keep them back there, right?
Probably, I guess. That was like his personal cell where it's like, those are the ones where you get arrested and you don't know where they went. Oof. It's like other ones, it's like you went to jail, and the other ones were like you get thrown under the jail.
Sucks.
No one will ever hear from you again.
Also,
I guess.
Fuck the Cowardly Lion.
I know, that's such a bullshit. No, she took me as a baby, and it's like she saved you, but you know.
You know who's doing his voice?
No,
Coleman Domingo. I'm not
the black guy.
Yeah. Oh, good. You know his name now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what you know him from. Sing Sing. He was in Euphoria, I'm told.
I know
he was in that Four Seasons show.
Yeah. Okay, the gay one.
Yeah. Black,
okay,
gay,
cool.
older.
I don't know if he's gay, but in the movie,
No, he is gay in real life.
4 seasons. Okay.
Oh yeah,
he was gay in 4 seasons. Yeah, that was good. Obviously, For Good was amazing. I was bawling through it in the theaters. Did I talk about myself crying yet?
In the first showing, yeah, you said you cried.
No, did I talk about it on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You
cool.
said you cried a lot during the first one, then the second
Yeah.
time viewing, you let yourself just watch it more. I will say that I was bummed. Again, for all the reasons I stated, I just didn't feel super connected. I think the first half had more kind of like intense moments. Like
Yeah.
I'm never not gonna cry at someone being laughed at by a big group of people. Like that's just that will to the day I die.
That
like,
was just a very universal thing.
but also like seeing herself as a girl, like that always gets me.
Did you cry when Glinda saw herself as a girl? No. I
was like, not McKenna Grace.
I know.
What is this? Who's gonna hire McKenna Grace now that she's not young enough to play the young version of every blonde actress?
Who's gonna be the little blonde girls all the time?
Who's gonna be the blonde girl in every movie?
When she walked up and saw herself in the bubble, or it might not even have been that part.
I do like the symmetry of that.
Part, yeah, but it was one part where she walks up and sees her younger self, and I like kind of looked over at you, and I was like, you didn't look at me, but I was like, oh, did that get you? I knew it didn't, but I was gonna like jokingly be like, are you crying?
I was funny. About to write off the whole movie too. The first time we watched it, I was like, man, I didn't even cry once. But then at the end, when Elphaba was walking away with Fiyero, and they're having their like reprise and singing together, then I got a little. I was like, I didn't cry, but I got welled up with emotion. I was like, oh, thank God, Elphaba. Thank God you got out of that. Goddamn. And honestly, again, it's kind of a weird. I think it's weird. It's a weird remnant because it's like now I'm even criticizing the original musical. It's a weird remnant of the original book, which was really fucking dark. But it's like, it's kind of strange that the end of this movie basically is like, fuck it. Probably should just get the hell out of Dodge. Like, that's the moral of the story. Moral is, you did everything you could for these fuckers.
The moral is change the system from the inside, which I guess was Glinda's original point. So it's like,
Yeah. The moral of the story was Elphaba went, you know what? And honestly, if that's the most wicked thing she did, I'm in her court. Because
she said, fine, figured out your fucking selves. I'm leaving.
I'm going to be selfish and I don't give a shit.
But she set it up. She was not so selfish that she just goes, you know what? I'm leaving.
No, she set it up.
She went and was like, hey, it's you got to fucking take care of this now.
And Glinda
cleaned house.
She did. And very quick, too.
I love that she came in and she was tougher and like a little bit more outspoken.
A little bit more Elphaba.
A little bit more Elphaba. But I did like that they also showed that the monkeys were on her side. So it's like, that's how she took over. She had an army. It wasn't just, I decided to speak up. It's like, you also have an army. So that's good. Realistic. But
yeah, we just traded one tyrant. We're like, the monkeys are going to be freed. Actually, they're going to be Elphaba's. Actually, they're going to be Galinda's.
Yeah.
Fuck you, monkeys. You still work for me.
Yeah, she'll give them some cute little pink palace to live in.
Yeah, that's just what Chistry wants.
Yeah, Chistry wants to live in the pink palace.
He looks away.
He wants his family to be safe.
Caesar is pretty. Oh, so pretty.
That would be a funny cutaway. And scene
at the very end.
Her walking in and Chistry's like, oh. And he's got like the pink dress with the crown. Oh, Miss Glinda. He talked.
I know.
And you know why he probably talked?
Because he's free.
Because he's free. He wasn't in a cage. He wasn't.
And he was
being
changed
he
for
wasn't
what?
Being repressed for good.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Bailey is a scarecrow.
What'd you think of that?
Still fuckable.
Still fuckable. It kind of gave me a little bit of a jump scare, but not as much of a jump scare.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not as much of a jump scare as young de-aged Jeff Goldblum.
Oh gosh, how'd you feel about the reveal of that?
What reveal? Oh, you mean the reveal that Jeff Goldblum was the man at the beginning of the first movie who slept with Elphaba's mom?
And was Elphaba's dad.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I knew that.
I mean, I appreciated that he at least looked like he felt bad about it. So
yeah, I know.
That was nice.
That was another moment I was like, oh, yeah, I guess you've been talking all this time about wanting kids. I didn't realize you actually cared.
Yeah.
So when he said, what have I done? I was like, you cared about Elphaba? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically
he said it
you humored her. But I didn't get that feeling like you actually cared about her.
I did enjoy the scene where they're trying to convince her, the Wonderful Wizard song.
I liked the callback to their dance.
Exactly. The part, so apparently, because I listened to the second half in the car on the way here of the musical, the actual stage songs, and they definitely added the girls into it because it was just him for like 5 minutes just singing a song by himself. And
just by himself?
And then in the
Elphaba's not even there?
in the very, very end, Elphaba does like a little bit, but it's like him for 98% of it.
Well,
and I was
you know
like,
what? I knew it. You know, because when I was watching it, I was like, this feels like we need the cast to change behind the stage song.
Yeah. And then, because when he was going, I was like, oh, he's got a long one this time. Because I have never listened to that song all the way through, except obviously when I was actually watching the musical. I have never. So I was like,
and you know what they were probably doing behind stage? Either taking a drink or like changing costumes. They're like, oh, goddamn, let that man sing as long as he wants.
I was like, I appreciate that John M. Chu or whoever decided was like, we probably need to add the girls in here.
Well, that's a good example. That's a good example of kind of how you do take something that only works for the stage world and make it work for the movie world, because that song might seem a little unnecessary in a movie because it's like you don't need time to change. Like,
and I think that on the stage, I think it was only Elphaba there. So having Glinda come
that works
and be part of it and kind of start singing a little bit like, oh, like you could be wonderful too, and then take her around. We have the reprise of Defying Gravity.
I was a little annoyed because she was like, look at all the things we could do together. Get on this broom. Let me show you. Sparkles. Okay, that was it. I was like, the hell's your plan? What's your plan? What's anyone's plan? It's a goddamn musical. Everyone sings about what they're going to do, but when I see their actual plan...
She said, think of what we could do together. Not, I'm going to show you what we could do
Glinda,
together.
You know what? I never realized what I could have done to save those animals. Sparkles.
Think about it. Think about it.
Did I ever try freeing the animals
There's so much to do.
by doing a wicked version of the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland?
That... I'd go to that ride.
Of course you would.
Surely
and would it solve animal racism? Maybe.
It would solve real racism.
It would. You leave that ride and Donald Trump's like, wow, I should secede, or I should give up my position.
I should
kill myself.
Shut down ICE.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. God damn it. No, I got to cut that out.
I should shut down ICE.
Well, that we can keep.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it again, so you can cut it in. Yes. I feel like there was one more thing.
You loved Jeff Goldblum singing, though, didn't you? That's your favorite part of every movie.
It was the best.
I'm a sentimental.
I did, because I was like, you know what male singer I did enjoy that I did absolutely love?
Who?
Jonathan Bailey, obviously.
Oh, right.
His part of As Long As You're Mine.
Is As Long As You're Mine the sex song? Yeah, that's good.
And when he started singing to her, I was like, oh, man. If you were as long as you were mine, you'd sing that shit to me every night. I'd be like, sing it again.
He's like, no, please.
Sing it to me again.
What is he?
Do you want to have sex? Sing it to me.
Is he like
again.
Michael Jordan or the Looney Tunes on the planet
on the
chained
up?
Chain
where it's like, sing
Don't
it
make
again.
me perform every night.
No, don't make me sing.
Don't make me sing.
No, that would definitely be, I'm like, this is our foreplay now.
Ooh.
But I wouldn't chain him up because that's wrong.
Unless he wanted to. I knew it. I know you. Because I know you, I've been changed for good, Benji.
Oh, look at that. And you get that now. Because at the end of the Wicked reaction, you were like,
I was also drunk.
What? Well, I mean, again, I will say, I thought you knew the song, and then I realized you had zero reference for part two.
I might have been able to keep up with you had I been sober.
True. I would have known. I absolutely did not realize how drunk you were.
Yeah, did you see how many of those? Most of the drunk reaction is you trying to set me up for something, and then me just staring at you like, what?
Oh, what other time?
Remember
you
handed to me the...
Yeah, I was trying to do the flower and you didn't get it.
I put it on my nose.
I also, little behind the scenes note here that you might have noticed or might not have.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't have a broom, so I took the straw out of my drink and I was going to use that like a broom. But you were just like... grabbing all over my hand, and I was like, well, I guess it's not a broom today because he did not pick that up.
He doesn't
know where he is. I have no clue. Now.
That's a fun reaction. If you didn't see our reaction to Wicked, you can watch it in its entirety-ish on Patreon. I did cut out a few moments of us way too drunkenly rambling. And thank you for being so patient. We were out of town in Asia, and And then we had Halloween, so we had like 2 episodes each week to release. And then we had our
live
show.
event, which was awesome. And that will come to YouTube at some point.
So this has been our first podcast in a while, but I think it was worth it. Benji, ultimately, you loved. Is there any ranking, or is it just one movie to you?
It's one movie. No, I think that obviously, like I said, the first one is Wicked.
Right.
I think the first one to me.
If you had to watch one, you would watch the first one.
If I had to watch one to be like, I need the vibe of Wicked.
Okay.
It would be the first one. The second one is very much, I really did like how the story came together. I felt like the beginning was really fun. I felt like the ending was really good. We got an awesome sex scene in the middle.
We got a sex scene.
We got a steamy scene in the middle. We got
kissed.
No good deed.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Exactly. And she sang it just like that.
I'll probably try to sing that at karaoke just like that.
Okay. Oh my God, that's gonna be rough. I got to get my voice back so I can start singing these songs. I'm still hoarse a little bit from.
No, you're not. You're Benji.
Oh, shut up! I'm still from the live event. We were screaming.
Oh, we were screaming.
Yeah,
and we did not have anything to make our breath and vocal cords recover.
Oh.
Wow. Well, For Good was definitely, again, like I said, I ultimately enjoyed it.
Your face in the microphone.
What? Oh,
you're
hey.
like, For Good is definitely like looking to the side.
Hey guys. Hey, I ultimately enjoyed Wicked for Good. I wish it would have impacted me the same way it impacts Benji, but you know what? I'm not the target audience, so
I guess not. You're kind of the target audience. But
I'm
not
adjacent.
fully.
You've changed me for good because
For Good.
I wouldn't have been the target audience 5 years ago for sure.
And we couldn't be happier, right, dear? We couldn't
What?
be happier.
Oh, we're getting married? What did he
Right,
say?
dear.
She said, are you okay getting married? He's like, man, if it makes you happy. I was like, well, that's not what you want to hear.
That's not what you want to hear. Oh, man.
But of course, I also couldn't fully feel bad because she like kept bamboozling him all the time. I was like, girl, I mean, again, yeah, fuck men, but also like he's clearly not into you. Let that one go.
Yeah, but he also needs to speak up.
No, I know for sure. But also, it's a fascist environment in which if he speaks up and says who he really likes, he could get killed.
No, but I'm like, but they're both leaning into the sham of this relationship because at the end of the day, all he has to do is break up with her. He doesn't have to say, I like Elphaba and I stand with all of her rights, but he doesn't have to. I would
no,
say,
it's one or the other.
I wouldn't say drag Glinda along because Glinda is very much like holding on tight to him.
Yeah.
But that's still like she thinks they're in a relationship and he's not telling her anything different. Like she shouldn't have to mind read him.
No, I agree.
Say like, oh, well, he doesn't like me. That's a skill that it's like, I'm not going to be on you for not doing that. But I also will say maybe sometimes just perceive that to save yourself some pain.
Yeah. I'd never tell a real woman to be like, you should have just read his mind.
No, absolutely
I
not.
will tell Glinda if you, first off, don't bamboozle someone into a marriage.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
he
man's
wasn't-
job
Oh, God.
to provoke. No, but if he says, if that'll make you happy, I feel like,
God.
all right.
Even
Okay.
if you happy.
No,
He
it's fair.
wasn't bamboozled. He was just told that he was getting married in front of the entire town. If that's bamboozling, then I don't know what's bamboozling.
I hate when men do that to women too. It's
Yeah.
like, you better know that person actually wants to marry you before.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me of
But
the
then
last
again,
thing I want to complain about.
Okay, but then again, you can always say no later. Like you can say yes to save face and not have an awkward moment, but say no later.
I don't actually have any stake in that.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, the last thing. Oh my God. And this is just a me thing. I wouldn't say change it. I just fucking hated it. God damn, I was like over all the Wikified words that they had. They had like 5 in the first like 10 or 20 minutes. I was like, oh, all right. And Josiah Rizzo has tuned out.
Oh, well, see, you were just in a place where you weren't going to like it either way. You just hated it.
Witch! I'm a witch! All right, Benji, you can take the floor of finishing this out since it is ultimately your movie.
All right there. If you liked that.
Oh, that's it?
What?
You have nothing else to say about Wicked?
I think we were done.
I'm sipping my lip.
I called you a witch, and that was it.
Okay, I'm a witch.
Fantastic movie. Great music. Make sure to watch that and then go find the Broadway musical somewhere to watch. I'm not going to tell you to fly to New York and watch it. Maybe wait for it to come to a local theater in your town.
Or pirate it.
I didn't say that.
Hypothetically.
The Pink Popcast didn't say pirate it, but
The Pink Popcast absolutely, what's it called when you promotes? No,
endorses.
We absolutely endorse pirating things that should be hidden. Yes.
But yeah,
Do not gatekeep. Share the love and spread the links.
Oh God, I think I went through most of what I loved. The rest will be filled in. I'm sure there's going to be something that pops into my head, but the rest will be filled in with an actual reaction. That's what I love about doing reactions.
I know. There's little moments I would say, but aren't funny in a podcast.
I'm also like, I've never been good at note taking, even in school. I just relied on my own memory.
Yeah.
So I was just like, so for me, I'm like, for all like the little bits and bops, I'd rather just watch it and talk through it, or I'm sure there's some other bigger things that I'm missing. We'll see. This is annoying and I'm rambling now.
Nah, you're not rambling. You're ramblifying.
I'm ramblifying.
I can't think of any words. That's it, I guess.
I think that's it.
All right, well, that was our podcast. Yeah. Merry, and we're coming up into the holidays next week, so happy holidays, and until then, I'm Rizzo.
I'm Benji.
Sweet dreamifying popsicles.
Yeah, sweet dreamifications.
Sweet dreamifications, you popsicles.
Keep watchifying.
There we go. Bye.